About to.
Okay.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Hey, gang,
Right in the back.
check it out. I I went to go change the track on the thing. I got the new track. I changed the timer, and then I didn't add it to the scene because I was too busy laughing at David and his jokes. So yeah, I blame me, but I'm slide blaming David a little bit crooked. Gang, what
I'm
it
gonna make
do?
this sound like it's me, but it really is somebody else.
Hey, what it do, Beef Stew? We are here today. It is time for Let's Get Live This Week in Tech. Actually, wrong show. This Week in Live.
This week is live.
Y'all got me cracking up right now. All right, so you know what? Let me just bring my partners on so I can stop killing myself right now because this is hilarious. Miss D, what is up? What's poppin' pimpin'?
I'm doing well, brother. I mean, I'm here, man. I'm here for This Week in Tech. I did something, but it ain't my fault. But I'm gonna blame somebody else, but make it seem like I'm taking accountability, but really ain't. So may the Lord bless you and keep you always.
Hey, it was a joint account.
Man.
It was a joint
account. You out here today, man.
And let me introduce our next partner, Mr. David Scapegoat Blackman.
There we go. Welcome to the stream, This Week in Tech. I mean, live. You got you.
Shut up, David.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here. Let's do this. Let's go.
Jeez.
Yo, I know for a fact he did that on purpose just to mess with me. All right, David, I see you.
Let's do it.
Look, David going for his
welcome
new.
to another episode of This Week in Live.
Look,
We're
hold
your
on,
hosts.
let me go to my episode of Fix My Hat.
And
I'm David
Doc
Blackman.
Rock.
Fix My Hat. It's like
today we're going to be talking about accountability. Can you actually take blame for when you make mistakes? If you want to know what our secret is to making this company work, stay tuned. We'll be getting right back after these messages.
So what's more funny is Mr. Camera Junkie said we're going to call it side accountability. So yeah, let me just kick it with that. Boom, side accountability. Let's get you to the right size, and then boom, we in there like swimwear. Okay, gang. Let's slide this back real quick. All right, enough of the music. Let's go.
Let's go.
We got a lot to talk about. Okay, so if you're new around here and you're brand new in these parts, and This Week in Live, we talk about the live streaming industry in general, right? Yes, all of us are Ecamm users. Some of us are Ecamm employees. However, this is about live streaming and content creation in general, like what's happening out there, because it's one thing to just know your software, know your space where you're working at. It's another thing to understand the industry and where the industry is moving. And that, my friends, separates the sheep from the flock. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. But, it separates, the guys that are the front runners, the leaders of the pack or whatever. Like, Cesar Millan, you got to be calm, assertive, and you got to be the pack leader.
I don't know why I had a vision of a Chihuahua in my head while you were doing
Because that's what Cesar Millan is, a Chihuahua, bro. So yes, when you take the time to learn all of the other things around you, you tend to have just better success because you know things that other people don't know. You're ahead of the game. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff. And what's up, Josh? Good to see you. And thank you, Josh. Thank you for the bout of support. Miss Keeley is in the building. How you doing, Miss Keeley? Good to see you here. Sammy Super Chat. Mr. Camera Junkie is here. And then I see JD is in the building. JD is here. And, of course, we're here. And, yeah, so let's get started. All right, so the first piece of news for the week is kind of a good one, I guess. It's more of an update. Let's say that. It's more of an update. YouTube is making some changes to their policy, which kind of, I guess, accidentally got put in place back in the days of Google Wave. Sorry, I have to give a moment of silence. A moment of silence for Google Wave.
What the
that
heck
thing was
Google Wave?
messy, bro. Google Wave was messy. I liked it. I did a lot of content creating on there because of Hangouts. Like, that's when Hangouts kind of popped off, right? If I remember correctly.
Oh, I remember Google. You're gonna have to pull up a Amazon, not Amazon, Google, quick Google image of that, so other, because I'm trying to think like
Yeah,
but
I
it's like,
don't
I
remember what the
though.
heck Google Wave is.
If you see an image of it, then it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, let me
This
see
is
if I can
like
find one real
old
quick.
school. It's like old school.
Oh.
It's like it make you kind of feel like the AOL kind of looking days.
Oh,
But that's
damn,
like
Doc,
if you pull it
went-
up on.
You didn't go back. You went,
went
way, way back,
way
bro.
It's not
You
that.
went-
It's not
you
that
went-
long ago though, which is crazy
But
because
the
they.
interface.
Oh, the interface was-
suggests kind of
Bruh,
it kind of
Hold
gives
on,
you that.
I'm trying to
vibe.
find a big one because that interface was just illmatic, bro. That's super funny. As you talk, you know what is funny? It's hard to find a good big. Here we go. I was gonna say it's hard to find a good big version of the interface because it was so old. Then our max resolution was a different game,
pixels. You don't have that many pixels.
bruh. So yes, what happened is here. Let me do this real quick. I got it. What happened is back then, it was common, right, for Google. They thought they was doing everybody a favor. Let's put it that way. They thought they was doing everybody a favor of like making it harder for people to, I guess, be not themselves online. So they started making you use your name. There was the beginning of the sort of real name aspect of the internet. Like, oh, when you sign up for services, you're going to have to put your real name in. And bro, look
Right.
at this mess. Look at this mess.
And that's it. But honestly, that's exactly it. It was like I saw one of the screenshots on there. It's like chess, and so that one was huge because I do remember playing chess, like digitally like that or whatever. But it's just the idea, though. You know, it's like it was hella messy. You didn't know what you didn't know. The social norms and what's common online wasn't then. It was still back in the era of people still kind of afraid to put their credit card online. People kind of afraid to do the stuff that we do now. They would never do. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Around that
Right.
time frame, let
Yeah.
alone your name kind of a stuff. So you had all kind of aliases that you were using at the time, which AKA
Yeah.
enter Google Wave in the way that you was operating and running at the time.
Right.
And then the Google Plus era that came in and tied everything together and screwed it all up, and then they disbanded that too.
So,
you know?
and David, you're right. What happened with Google Plus became a thing because of the amount of people that was acting ill on Google Wave. You see what I'm saying? So the Google Plus was a bring it together, like a coming to Jesus moment for Google. Was like, yo, we got to get this thing together. We got to find a way to tie it in and make it like a little bit better. But the original, I remember even Facebook started going through that real name process, and that was about the exact same time. You know, you have to follow your rules. You have to put your name on everyone. You can't just be like some weird person. And
right.
that's when that's why
verify
my
you.
account now
Verify
says
you.
Sean Doc Boyd, because somebody reported me, and not even long ago. We're talking like 2-3 years ago. Somebody reported me just to be a hater, and I was like, bruh, I have IMDb credits. I got album credits. Like, this is my name. I'm no different than Ronaldo. His name is not Ronaldo. Actually, Cristiano is not even his first name. Cristiano is like 3 names deep. You know what I mean? But they were like, no, you can't do that. And so what's funny is right after they forced me to change it, the law came back that they can't do that to people because of Laverne Cox and not wanting to, she and a couple other people in the trans community was like, outing our legit names could actually get us hurt. So then Facebook backed off, but then they told me I couldn't switch it back. So that's why I said Sean Doc Boyd instead of Doc Rock.
Right.
But what YouTube is doing now, the whole point of all of this banter is YouTube is setting you up where you can go back and change your channel name without affecting your Google account. And that has been problematic for some people. Now, if you're an old school YouTuber like myself, my channel name could be whatever I want. But you'll notice there is a URL out there that says youtube.com/u/DocRock808. And the only reason why they exist is when I first signed on in 2006, I was youtube.com/DocRock. And then I got into Japan for a year and I had only posted like 2 videos. Then I came back and it wouldn't let me in my account. none of the recovery stuff would work. I think I originally signed up with my college email, which was dumb, because then when you graduate, you couldn't
You don't
get
have
back
access
in.
no more. Right.
Yeah, well, I didn't think about that at the time, and so I couldn't get in my University of Hawaii email. And so they're like, nah, dude, you just have to make a new account. And they were too brand new to have all of the systems in place they have now to help you. So I ended up with Doc Rock 808, which was irritating to me because it just broke my branding. And it was stuck that way for years.
Right.
And then somewhere in like 2016, they were like, okay, if you're an old creator, we're going to let you change your creator name now, but you got to do it now because we're going to start making people attach it to their Gmail. And turns out my Gmail is Doc Rock. I shouldn't have said that. If y'all spam me, I swear I'll come for you. so,
This week in tech, we're talking about violence on the internet. Stay tuned for our new series here at 6 p.m.
There's no violence. I'll play the violin outside your door, which is probably worse. But I was lucky, so I ended up getting my thing back because my Gmail name happens to be the right. And then they switched it again, so it had to be stuck to whatever your Gmail is. And once you got past a certain amount, it was 1,000, I believe. It's 100. You can change your channel names, but yeah, you had to make a brand account like David, right? I'm assuming your Digital Buddha is a brand account.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
yeah, and what's wrong, Doc? You don't like Doc 808?
Nah, it sounds like I'm playing the drum machine.
Yeah. I know how
So
it is.
today's lesson is to make sure that if your branding actually sucks, be careful of what you name stuff.
Yeah.
Because you might get stuck with it
here's
for
your
who knows
lesson.
how long.
As soon as your children, anybody is born, you go and you get their Gmail account for their name and all that stuff immediately. Then they ain't
By
got
their
this
URL, hell.
because there's one, and by their URL, you get all that stuff. That's today's lesson.
There was one point in time,
so you don't have to be an 808.
there was one point in time where I bought everyone in my family their domain name for Christmas, and they all thought it was weird. And now that some of them are going into businesses, they're like, "Oh, you still got?" Yes, I do. And I've been paying for it for 10 years, so you owe me $150.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah, I've got
But you know
all
what?
of my
That's
children.
super important.
You know. Yeah.
You know, but nobody's thinking like that. Honestly, it's nobody thinking like that. I've told like my nephews and stuff, like, hey, I don't care what you're doing, you're going to have a personal brand because anytime you plan to do anything in any capacity, and I'm like, even if you just worked and you had a corporate position at a job or something like that, the company is always going to give you the company-based branded cards, but you also need to have like your own for your own stuff. What are you actually doing? Or what are you known for? Or what are you good at? Like, what is your personal brand? And I love this because Kurt talked about this. It was actually yesterday, and he did this on Alicio's show, the Creators on the Come Up show. And it was a fantastic episode. And so it's
Man,
like
I was so ready to tune in, and then I got sidetracked doing something.
Episode.
Oh, bumming.
It was a fantastic it really was. I hopped on right at the end of it because he called me out. He's like, man, Miss D ain't going to come on. I'm like, oh, okay. I said, link me. So, because I was already in the office. But it was something that Kurt Nugent said where he was recounting something that I had shared when I was switching from Entree Woman TV to just Diana Gladney and just really fleshing that out and removing the other stuff. And it was the fact that when people are searching for you online, the how they search for you matters. If you are constantly putting so much energy forcing people trying to remember a brand that honestly may not be memorable, that means that you may be missing an opportunity to really leverage and build your personal brand. Whether somebody's searching for something in Google, whether somebody's searching for something on YouTube, they always are going to search my name first. Anything else afterwards, and I'll see other stuff from like YouTube analytics of other things that they're associating with my name.
Right.
Because they can't remember what the video was called. They can't remember what the book was called. But they can say Diana Gladney and then book recommendation. And the one video that may talk about books comes up. And so it's the same thing for him. He was like, for his How It All Works brand and stuff like that. But his channel name is like, that's a show on his channel. But his channel name is his name, learning to build that personal brand. And it doesn't matter what your kids do. But knowing and just honestly imparting to them how important it is to have that personal brand matters. So I like the fact that companies and stuff are getting in alignment and understanding, like, either I'm building an actual, business name, or I'm building an actual, a personal brand. You always want to build a personal brand, whether you want to or not. And if you aren't actively building it, then you're passively building it, which means whatever people say about you is the brand.
They control the
and that's
narrative.
Dangerous.
Right.
David, I got a question for you real quick before I forget, because I got ADD, HD, QR, SPU, WX, YLGL.
Hit me.
See, it almost slipped now. Come on with it. Oh, is there a way? Okay, and Ms. D brought up a valuable point, and so I wanted to make sure I missed that. You being the search king, is there a way for someone to check which way do people search for them gets the most amount of searches? Like, are they searching for Sean Doc Boyd? Are they searching for Doc Rock? Are they searching for that guy that makes Ecamm videos? How do they check that?
You can do it just like you do common keyword searches. So you can see what type of search volume is around your name, and see how many people are searching for you, and then it's going to kind of break down where they're searching for you, what the top sites are coming up with your search terms and stuff. So like your name. So like take me for example. I'm pretty well known in my niche. I speak at WordCamps. I've got a well-established WordPress, product company, and there's this other David Blackman who outranks me when somebody searches my name, because he is a famous fiddle player in Georgia. And this guy is a musician, very popular, and every time he comes up, no matter how much content I've put out over the last decade to try to overcome him, he still ranks above me. So, I end up having to tell people to just search my name in WordPress, and then I come up instantly, but it's kind of annoying.
So you got make sure you tell people to put MON too, because if you put MAN, you might get some different sites, bro. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right, Miss I, because Miss Eileen. First of all, how you doing? Cause Miss I is here, and she always be faster than everybody else when it comes to some news. Yeah. So I'm gonna just go ahead and use her as my segue. Thank you, Miss Eileen.
There you go.
She said, has anyone applied for Spotify podcast monetization through Anchor? Well, pray tell. Funny thing, you should say that. Boo-you-you. That's what I just made a new word. Anyway, Spotify launches. Okay, Martin. Spotify has launches to do podcast subscriptions. Okay, Gina, we'll give creators 100% of the revenue for 2 years. Okay, give me my money, Gina. Sorry. Yeah. Creators get 100%. Bro, you got 2 years on Spotify to get busy.
Yeah. And here's what I want to say in regards to that. My brain kind of works in a little bit different way than other people's brains. I see this as not 2 years of 100%. I know Spotify's banking on the lazy people who aren't going to really make changes, but you got 2 years to build up on their platform, your podcast, get it monetized, get paid, but at the same time, condition your audience to build up your own platform as well, so that when that 2 years is up, you can have your audience going to your own platform so you can continue getting 100% of your revenue. So you need to be thinking like that. It could be huge. Most people aren't going to do it. They're just going to take the 30% lick that Spotify is going to give them for their subscriptions and stuff. And that's my experience. That will happen, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you don't want to manage your own platform and stuff. But here's my caveat: Digital Buddha, digital real estate. Spotify in 5 years from now decides to change that, and they're not offering subscriptions anymore, and you don't have it. You're kind of in a pickle.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's so. I guess the thing that's crazy to me. We spoke about this briefly. First of all, from the early reports, what Spotify is going to do when someone subscribes to, like, say you go to, the Anchor podcast with Miss Eileen, and she charges $10. Spotify is going to take 5%. Right, they're going to basically do the payment processing style, and then you kind of get the rest. But yes, they are banking on the conditioning. Well, the other side of it is they're probably going to have things where it kind of makes the person want to be a premium member. And then that's how Spotify is going to get them. They're going to get you to where you want to be a premium member. As soon as YouTube started really, really pushing creators to make more content, they pushed out premium. And I don't think people caught that maneuver. That maneuver was timed. As soon as YouTube Red, the original YouTube Premium, came out, it's the same time YouTube started pushing creators and elevating creators and doing all of these things to get creators to feel like they were running the show. Then everybody and their mama started jumping on watching a lot of YouTube. Well, when you're just go to see a casual video, you don't mind the commercial. When you're spending 3-4 hours a day looking at YouTube, commercials get on your nerves. So
yeah, right.
you just pay them the $10. Well,
That's
$14
right, yeah.
now. And I'm glad I got in at 10 because mine is still 10. But you want to get rid of it. So they are building their automatic monthly revenue. They know exactly what that is every month. They know it has a 2.7% growth every month. They know that their burn rate, their churn rate is really low. And then so they move. And then after they added YouTube TV. So again, when they go to make a new something, they know what their development cost is. They know where their money sits. So I think Spotify is also going to pick up on that. They're probably going to get a lot of premium conversions because of becoming the go-to podcast app. And so right now, Apple and Spotify are like scrapping it out. What does that do for Spreaker or Stitcher or, some of these others?
It becomes irrelevant.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? It's like it easily, here's the thing. When somebody thinks of a word like podcasting and your brand's name or your company's name doesn't come up, you have fallen into the space of irrelevancy. Because if you're not easy to remember, then you're not easy to remember. If I think cheeseburgers, whether you like it or not, somewhere in that first 5 lineup, even the first top 3 is McDonald's. Whatever the other 2 are almost just as irrelevant if it ain't number 1. So it's like when you think about it from that perspective, the same way, if I said email lists and you think of certain brands, only a couple come to mind. Then the others was like, oh, and then there's this one and then that one. But they are afterthoughts. And the same is true when people are buying decisions, because it's no different than when anything else. They start comparing and they will see only certain brands are comparative to others. It's like, well, everybody's comparing this to this. So they make the assumption, well, these must be the 2 best relevant options for me to choose from, even if something is better. And that's what they go with, out of that. So if you fall into irrelevancy, then good luck. Because now you have to build some authority around being known in this space, but that also becomes problematic because even when services fall flat at times, people now develop like, well, I do business with this group and I'm sticking with them. It may not have every little thing that I want, but it's just like you create raving fans by the way that you do business and stuff. So, what I'm saying? That's hard to break. That's very, very hard to break and to get into. So it's like, so that's going to be the hard thing. When these companies create raving fans of what you're doing, then it's now a problem. Just like Patreon is kind of in that same space. Patreon is getting a little nervous.
Oh, they should be
nervous. Buy me a coffee is what's become like, you know what I'm saying? Like very quickly, because of so much, ads that they run in or something like that, because people are finding out I love this because of me getting my needs met. So it's just like, this one, this person, that person. You see how quickly it just spread within our community of all of us that have accounts with Buy Me a Coffee. And now Patreon is like, oh, we didn't have competition for a while. And now you do. So now what do you do? Right.
Yeah, and it's small stuff that they could change to fix it, but they still not listening. While they're getting whooped in the corner, they're not making no changes. One of the biggest things Apple did was make everybody associate podcasts with these. This got nothing to do with podcasts at all, but it was what it's called. It was more meant like in the P-pod, not in the iPod, like in the little edamame type joint. So it's a neat play. But here's what's funny to me, I think, or Apple has got a lot of heat for that, but nobody really cared. Only tech people ever talked about it. Mom and dad who listen to podcasts now didn't care. Serial brought a lot of eyes to podcasts back in 2015. And then now podcasts really have blown up over the pandemic. I remember 2 years ago listening to a report that said, oh, we're at 750,000 podcasts. At the rate we're going, we should break 1 million podcasts in like 2 years. Then the pandemic happened. And it went from just barely kissing 1 million to 1.5 million. There's over 500,000 new podcasts created last year. It's just insanity. So now it's a thing. Now people who we're tech people mostly, right? Maybe we've been listening to podcasts forever, but you're starting to find random folks. When my 11-year-old niece be like, Uncle, I done ran out of these podcasts. What podcast can I listen to now? And she got like little kid podcasts being produced by other little kids. And she like wants to listen to that on the way to school. And then, I got to drop her off and I'm about to play some music. And she's like, oh no, can you play Audible? Huh? Mm-hmm. I want to hear my audio book.
Yep.
And I'm like, she be paying attention to Uncle. Holla back, right? Podcast is there. Yep. And you knew it right away when Amazon, we got to put our podcast on. You can control it with A-Lady. Apple put money, they fixed the app, they start doing things, they start making subscriptions. A couple of the celebrities got together and tried to invent their own podcast thing. I forgot it's a yellow one. It completely escapes me. But Trevor Noah tried to put his stuff over there, and it's like, man, you got come back to regular space because where you at over there by yourself is not going to work because the big players will eat you alive. And right now, even iHeartRadio, who is Clear Channel Communications, was one of the biggest radio stations. They own 911 radio stations. Their podcast app is getting eaten to death right now because Spotify and Apple have come through with fisticuffs.
I want to acknowledge Eileen and I.
I saw her comment.
A discussion in chat about how can they, and I want to let people know like it is super duper simple today to accept payments, donations on your website. You don't have to have an entire LMS. If you want something like a Patreon or a Buy Me a Coffee.
Okay, David, hold on.
What
is for those that don't know what is LMS?
You know Miss D was fitting to get you, bro. Okay, she gets me every time.
LMS is like a learning management system or a membership platform where you've got a paywall, where you've got some Buy Me a Coffee, similar to Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon, where you're going to have some premium content for members behind a paywall, basically.
Makes sense.
You can set that up, make private content, set a group up. I'm going to be doing some content just to kind of share with people because I'm real passionate about you owning your own stuff. And even if you're not in a position to do that, you at least should be knowledgeable and know that you can. So like most forum plugins these days, they all accept payments. Even the donation plugins like Give is super awesome and powerful. And they have membership type kind of things, to where you can put them behind a paywall. And all of these really common forums, donation plugins and stuff, you can connect PayPal to it, Stripe to it, just about any payment gateway, and it's super duper easy. So that's what I'm kind of wanting to. I love BMAC. I love Patreon. I think they serve a purpose. I think they're fantastic. I'm just really passionate about educating people and making sure that, they know what happens if BMAC gets bought out by whoever because they've grown so big and they change their business model. Well, all of a sudden, your eggs are in that basket. I realize that the odds of some of these things happening are slim, but they still could happen, So that's kind of something that's really, really important and stuff. But Spotify doing this with 2 years of runway, you can use their platform, take that money, reinvest it in yourself and your own platform. So by the time that you do get to that state where Spotify is wanting to, go full on 30%, I'm going to take a cut of your hard work, which is okay. They're a great platform and they serve a good purpose. And you may want to stay with them. But you got a couple of years runway to where you can keep it that way. So, hope I didn't go to kill our.
No, I think that's important because it's like people need to be in a place to make better decisions other than, because when these opportunities come up, they only look at, the should I get in it or not other options like where for what the business that I'm building, the brand that I'm building, and why I'm creating content online, why I have this YouTube channel and the purpose that serves. When I add this, what am I trying to do with this ultimately? Other than just trying to make a quick buck, what is the purpose of why I'm doing this? And that should make the determination of what direction that you go in, because it is much harder, which again is why they're banking on you got 2 years invested into this. People know to do this. All your links say come here. You got videos where it's baked in when you was promoting it. Like they understand from a marketing standpoint, it is very hard to retract 2 years of constant promotion to build that thing. So are you willing now to make that switch and go through the work to do that? So when you are making these decisions, you have to think about like the where you go is not necessarily should be what's easy. It should be based on what are you trying to build? What are you ultimately trying to build? I was in a clubhouse room. It was talking kind of like about this. And I brought up the buy me a coffee, and it was like, but you use Kajabi, you could do that there. And I'm like, yes, but the user interface is different. I don't have the time or the flexibility nor the want to for that right now. I said, plus when I do stuff over there, then that will be something totally different. It's another menu option in the things that you can eat at the, DG restaurant, if you will. I said, so it's going to be different, but that way this is still over here. It's manageable. This is something I can offload to a team member to handle. I said, but the other thing is though, is that the one young lady, she's like, well, why not just build your own app and this, that, or whatever? Because you're, again, same thing with all these other services and whatnot. You're trying to make people go someplace and do something that's not normal or there's normal behavior. So one thing to go to YouTube is another something to ask somebody to download an app that maybe 12 people have or whatever. So it's like when you're looking at building your own site and baking that into what you are doing, like what you're talking about, David, versus using some of these other services is not, again, it's not really a bad thing. It's just a matter of just make the decision based on the longevity of why you're trying to do what you're trying to do, because sometimes doing it on your own website makes the most sense for your ultimate goal of what you're trying to do. It's like, and you talking about WordPress, I mentioned Kajabi, but it's just what I personally use, but it's just the idea.
Yeah.
The what you use should be based on your goals.
Yeah, and I think one thing, Eileen, and she brings up a really good point. She's like, hey, memberships are hard, sites, and they are. But I think about like the bigger picture. So let's say you make $10,000 in a year off of Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon, and let's say they take their 30% cut, and I don't even know what the cut is, maybe 20% or whatever. But let's just say it's 30%. Most of them take whatever they take. That's $3,000. You can have that platform built with that initial same amount of money that you're giving somebody else, and then having someone maintain that occasionally over years there is no trade-off, because over time, let's say you stay on there 5 years and you give them $3,000 a year. Well, you've just given them $15,000, and I can promise you, regardless of how hard it is, a front-end developer can manage your site for an occasional a whole lot less than that, because you're not going to have to be doing much other than updating it and keeping the updates and security and stuff
100%.
So
one of the things
that's kind of my point. Yeah.
Well, I think another thing I like to bring into the fold is, you guys know me, like I am not a fan of, I don't want to call it dumbing things down because that's not the right terminology, but I'm not a fan of softening everything so that everybody can play. Some folks need to just stay away from this. Some folks need to not play. And if that barrier to entry, which is not a person blocking, but a mental block for themselves, good. I think it's okay. And I know this sounds weird because we have been trained into this all-inclusive thing, which is good for certain subject matters, but for others it's not, because making it easy for anyone to just get in there and play with no hurdles whatsoever is where we get the scammers and the crooks and all the other stuff, right? When there's a certain barrier to entry where you have to put a certain amount of skin in the game in order to get somewhere, that kind of slows some of that stuff down. And like everybody, I want a website, I want it to be easy. Like I want to make money online, I want it to be easy. Nah. You should have to put some work into it. You got to put some work into it. Even if that work is hiring the right people to do it for you, it shouldn't just be like I woke up today and just started pressing buttons and now I can go sell stuff to people with no accountability. So I don't know. Like I don't. WordPress is not hard. It's not simple. It's in the right spot where there's just enough of a block to keep some of the cretins away. Not all of them, because some of the cretins are skilled. so there's that.
Yeah.
And Vaughn, no, because This Week in Baseball beat that by like about 80 years, and it's just not a thing. And Leo's my friend, so we're good.
Right. What else we got on this weekend?
The next one is one that kind of like speaking of what I just said, I guess it's kind of funny, but yeah. So YouTube is coming up with this idea of hiding public dislikes, and they're saying that it's for creator well-being. Now, I'm the drill sergeant here again. It's not supposed to be that easy. And trust me, as a black creator, I have had some of the most heinous things said to me in the comments. But so what? It's just words on the screen. Click buy.
Like you suck because you like dark chocolate?
Hey, dark chocolate, all chocolate. Hashtag
No, David.
All chocolate
Don't matter. It don't. It's
All
only a
chocolate
select
matters.
few that matter. No, it don't. No, it don't.
I'm calling YouTube. I want a dislike button.
But see,
So-
honestly, that's exactly
Joe?
how that goes. It's like somebody says something that you don't like, and it's not. It's one thing to be completely like have a prejudice or like you're extremely offensive in what you're saying, not because it made you feel some kind of way, but because it literally was like verbal attacking. Like it makes a difference. It's one thing if somebody you say, well, they attacked me. It's like they accidentally tripped you. And it's just like, well, no, they attacked me. It's like, it's another thing if somebody sock you in the eye, then they attacked you. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's one thing. It doesn't make a difference. But that's that same kind of mentality. It's like, I want to call YouTube. I want to, you know what I'm saying? Even to the extent, people go out of their way to, hide this stuff already. And so now the fact
I'm going to ask you that.
coming up for consideration. I mean, my whole thought on like the whole thing is like for citing creator well-being, your well-being is your responsibility. That's like saying we're going to create a subculture community for you to live so you don't have to experience the real world because it's hard.
Right.
The hell with it, it's hard. Of course it is. You built for it though. That's the difference.
the
And we creating
equivalent-
this community. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Is this
What'd you
the
say, David?
equivalent? Is this the equivalent of a participation trophy? Diana?
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah,
10th place
kinda.
awards and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like on some
Yes,
real stuff.
kinda.
Quick story. When I was in elementary school, it was this kindergartners kind of like of a race or first graders race or whatever. And like we talking about well-being, right? So I remember my gym teacher, like we all would do these, 1 mile run walk to see how well you could do or whatever. All right. Well, little old Diana, my spirits were high, but my feet were slow. So it is a huge thing. We go to the high school track and this, that, or whatever. And I just remember, and they was like, go. And everybody take off. Everybody's cheering. It was like slow motion. Like I'm waiting for angels to descend. And I see my gym teacher like, let's go, Diana. Woo! Like, yeah. He was all into it. And I seen him and tears was coming out the back of my eye. Like I just knew. And then I saw 6 other kids in front of me. And I knew I lost because like I was nowhere near compared. We got to the end of that race. And he came up to me. He's like, I'm so proud of you. You did amazing. I was like, dude, I lost. He's like, it doesn't matter. You gave it your best. No, my best was not enough to get me to win. So it doesn't matter. And I got the little green participation award. And I promise you, that thing made it to the trash. It made it to the trash. Because sometimes your best may not be enough. You didn't do what was required for you to win. It's the difference.
My best. But I guess
You know what I'm saying? So like on some real stuff, I never forgot that. I never forgot that. And it's just like, I get the encouragement and like you and whatever. But the whole thing is just like, don't encourage me to suck. Like encourage me to do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this whole thing, remove the dislike button, is weak. It's
And
creating
Joel put it in
a
there.
fluffy community.
Look, Joel put it in there, and Joel is right, and that's one of the first things that came to my head. Where'd you go, Joel? Joel said, I think the ratio of seeing dislikes is useful and important information for viewers, because not all dislikes are because someone's hating on you for how you look or how you speak or whatever. Some dislikes are because you made a crappy video, okay?
Yeah.
And to Joel's point, if you came in and you got like 1,000 likes and like 14 dislikes, those 14 people aren't necessarily hated. They might be trying to tell you something. If you got a 50-50 split, you most definitely not that many haters, bro. This
Got a
is not it. And they're like, oh, well, YouTube says, well, they're trying to cut down on dislike mobs or whatever. But like when you're engaged with your community, you know what your community wants. The people outside of your community, this is going to sound mean, but they don't matter yet. Once they come in and say that I want to be a participating part of this community, I want to add something, because that's what community means. If you go by the definition, now that person can have a say so in the speech, and maybe they can make arrangements or pull something to the side. Hey, I got hockey checked into the fucking glass by a community member this week, and I loved it because I needed to hear it. That's what your community does. You know what I'm saying? You're like,
yeah.
You're like, hey, penalty box my ass. Listen, this is what you did. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I guess I did do that. My bad. Right? And then so you just go, you sit your ass in the thing, and you wait till Keely say you can come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's what it is.
Yeah.
So that by hiding that, and you are making it too easy on yourself, because sometimes you need to know, and then B, you're not giving an engagement, because your community will even say, all right, this video is fire. Who's the idiot that pressed the dislike button? I think it's funny. Now, to Miss Eileen's point, she put it in here earlier. It said Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter do not have a dislike button. They should, especially Facebook. Yeah. They should have had that a long time ago, because that's how misinformation spreads.
They need a "this is stupid" button, or they need it.
I think one thing that you need to know about them doing this, some people are bringing up, hey, how are you going to improve? The creator gets to see the dislikes.
Oh, the creator can see it. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
It's just the public facing side is removed.
Again,
they just don't show it. But I agree with you. I agree, Diane.
If you have poo, it's like if you have poo on your body, right, everyone can see it. They can smell it. What good is it to do? Say, yes, I'm covered in poo, but we're hiding it from the public. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you helping?
That's a good analogy. Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who are
but
you?
But I'm kind of like Miss Eileen. She also said that, like for me, I don't, when I go watch a YouTube video, I don't even look at the dislikes. It doesn't even faze me. Amazon, right, Google, if I'm buying something and there's some negative comments, I'm really paying attention. But for YouTube, it doesn't even faze me. I don't even bother with it. It doesn't
and again, that's what I'm saying. But I think that's about building from that. So from a viewer standpoint, it does help, because at that point, like for me, honestly, when I'm paying attention to the dislike button as a creator, it's like I'm looking at it from one perspective. But as a viewer, I'm just like, I wonder where they missed it, or is it somebody being silly, kind of a thing. So I watch. Right. I'm encouraged to watch the video to just see, like, is somebody tripping or whatever. It's like, because it could be something as simple as what I used to do on my channel, which helps me as a creator when I'm researching content. And it's like, if I see dislike buttons, I assume they missed it someplace. The same way I stopped you earlier and I said, what does this mean? What does X, Y, and Z mean? Because that one thing could be like, if you were helping, and then you added a roadblock simply because you didn't add the explanation afterwards, they like, well, crap, none of the other stuff is helpful because I now am stuck at this early part in the video, so I can't do anything that you've recommended there afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So
you know what's funny? Like David said LMS, and I thought he meant party rock. Dun, 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 dun. That's LMFAO. And so, but yeah, I do like the fact that, yes, they are going to keep it so that the creators can see for themselves. But I just, me personally, I kind of disagree with it. Now,
but here's the thing, though. Pull the article back up, though. Pull the article back up. Keep saying what you're saying, but pull the article back up.
The one thing I do want to bring up, though, is because I want to ask this question because I don't call it offense. Offense is a heavy word, but I take umbrage to creators who hide their subscriber count. I'm like, really though, fam? You are definitely vanity metrics like twisted. Nobody cares.
100%.
I'd love to see a fire video from a creator with like 150, 200, 300 subs. I love watching Luis's videos right now because then when Luis is big and he's up there with Peter McKinnon to us Latinx people, I could be like, yo, I know Luis when he had 4 subscribers because I was number 5.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's bragging rights, fam. Don't hide your subscriber count. You see?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, why do
here's the
people
thing,
do
though.
that anyways? Why do they? Is it
It's
straight
a fear
up
thing.
vanity?
I think it's
Vanity.
a fear thing.
They want to look
It's
bigger
like,
than
you know
they
what I'm saying?
are?
Yeah.
That's why I don't like
my
it.
My opinion is like as long as I'm keeping, let's say, a positive energy, a positive mindset, or whatever, then you only make the assumption more or less based off of me. But it's like it's like your greatness is not determined just by what you do, but how you impact others as well. That help adds credibility to that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and that stuff actually does matter. So it says for creators' well-being. If it was for the creators' well-being, then they would hide it from us. If it's for to save face, then it would be, you know what I'm saying, like how they trying to do it now, where it's on the front end. You're not helping them because they still going to feel the same way seeing it regardless. So it doesn't make any difference to try to hide stuff. Your subscriber number, hide the viewers, the likes or dislikes or whatever. Because as a creator, when I'm going to somebody else's video, if I was researching, for example, this week in live, our show right now, and David said LMS, that's a key, and he didn't explain it afterwards. That's a key indicator to me that when I bring it up in my video, I want to say, if you don't know what this is, here's what this means. And that infinitely makes my video more helpful because I'm helping to make sure you stay unblocked. You know what I'm saying? In the way of the way I'm helping you. And so it's not about to say, it's really not about like a feeling kind of thing, but you are creating a softer society that doesn't know how to manage their emotions, doesn't know how to build mental strength and toughness, not to just say, let anybody say or do anything to you and just pretend to be unfazed. That's not it. It's not about being unhealthy, but learning to be a whole human being by learning to handle dislikes and frustrations and stuff. It's like saying again, it's just like, it just creates a culture that I'm not here for. And I'm not for the hiding subscribers and stuff. I think that's a weak move also, because again, it's not about the thing of like, oh, I only have, no, if you can get 100, if you got 100 subscribers, you got a ton of people following your content.
That's right. Yeah.
Imagine David doing a talk. Imagine David doing a talk on WordPress, why you need to own your own digital real estate. Let's say that's a something that he's doing, and 100 people show up and they stay engaged the whole time. He like, damn, this was fire. Like, I love doing this talk. We're going to do, you know what I'm saying? But now it's 100 on YouTube, and you're like, well, I only have. No, fix yourself. Fix yourself.
Boom. I love that.
Yeah,
It's
Joel
been
had a good comment. Okay, Diana nailed it by accident. Maybe the new button should be "You're tripping."
Yeah, I love that button.
I would love
you
that
missed
button.
it someplace.
I would love that button,
it just
bro.
means,
You're
it means
tripping.
the video's great, but you missed it someplace. Like, for example, we was talking earlier off camera. We was talking about Gerald Undone. And we all talk about how we enjoy his stuff, but I'm like, it's just too much sometimes. It's a fire hose of like too many things. I got to pause and look this word up. Pause and look this word up. I feel like I'm doing homework. Like,
hey, stop messing with my dude. That's my G,
saying,
man.
I like Gerald Undone. But it ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? It ain't for me overall.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? On some topics.
It is a little crafty.
Yeah.
But I like that get into spec because I like to know the science behind things. And, you know, it's funny because even Vaughn is like me. He got the same impression I get. Like, I find it suspect is all get when people hide their.
Get your weight up.
And then Miss Eileen said Stephanie and Lori used to do it. Well, I'm glad they used to and they stopped because it just shouldn't. And I get some people in the beginning, and I understand how people make, I'm going to call it a mistake. You do what you want. Okay, this is all you. But I think the reason why some people do that is because they're in forums or conversations or even like in the hallway at social media market world, and then some high-level person says, well, I do it because it helps me stop the trolls. And then you're a brand new YouTuber, you're a female, you're thinking, okay, maybe I should do this as some safety mechanism, right? And then, but I'll get it. Hold on, Ms. D, because I got a good one. You know, one of my docisms is coming.
I know. I feel it in my spirit.
In Karen's group of friends, right? Let me explain this real quick. In Karen's group of friends, like just to see the crime level in Hawaii was starting to step up a little bit. Why? Well, because of methamphetamine. So people were starting to tripping. And her group of friends, they were like, well, I got to get my shopping done at this time. I can't go out late at night. I can't do this. I got to make sure that my kids are safe and this, and this. And all these people started making these arrangements. 4 years ago, Karen and Emma went to karate. Saturday, she's testing for her 3rd cube brown belt. 4 years ago, I used to flick her ear, and they'd be just stop. Now it's flick the ear. Pap, pap, I'm in the corner.
On the floor.
What the hell was that? She's like, oh, that was a shoot on Getty. And I'm like, look, lady, hold up. Like, you can't swing at a brother like that no more, because now it hurt. Like, before it was funny. When she just get a little, oh, you stop. I'm like, okay. Now it's like, I'm like, ah. And so now she's like, do the dishes. I'm like, yeah. You know, she's 4'11" and like 115 pounds. And she will beat that ass. So there's 2 ways to handle it. You can do all of the things to protect yourself, or you can set yourself up to win. There's 2 separate options in that equation. And do I want some person to try to mess with her in the parking lot? Never. But do I worry about her anymore? No. I kind of feel sorry for the person that tried to grab her, because they about to get flouted. They about to get flouted.
They're going to be like, listen, this lady assaulted me. All I was trying to do was steal a purse.
Yeah, you're going to hear about it. Small Okinawan lady in Hawaii beats up 3 people in the parking lot, details at 11.
Right.
And I'll be sitting over there, yeah, you didn't want me to come in here, son. Yeah. What's up?
Local Hawaii
Eileen's right. Now we know why she's a brown belt. Ear flicking doc flicking her.
Dude, I used to always because it would drive her crazy. She can't stand that. I used to just go back to, because she's afraid of bugs. So like I would just do this, and then ping, and then it would piss her off so bad.
Right. You'd be rolling over at night and be like, dang, man, my side still hurt.
Bro, she's like, hey, I want to show you this thing that I just learned. And then next thing you know, I got an ice pack.
Right.
And Chris Wood laughing because he be teaching people how to do that. Then the wives come back and bring more friends. Yeah. So and to this day, her friends are still scared of stuff. They're like, you go to Costco like after 7? She's like, yeah, that's the best time. Ain't nobody there. But what about that's where all the crackheads live? She's like, I wish they would. So
and you know what? That's
I need some
feel
practice
you on that though. But that's the thing. It's like I was talking to my friends and I get it. Like, but it's one thing. It's like, let's honestly stop being so loose with how we dictate fear. You know what I'm saying? Fear used to mean a lion finna kill you. Now fear is I don't want to show my face on camera. What? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's use fear in the right perspectives with the right definitions around stuff. Because again, just like we was talking about Gerald Undone, it's like, to me, sometimes that may mean I need to pause on this video, go get my weight up over here, learn some stuff, and then I can come back.
Right. See, Miss D, you so hood. I love it. She's like, I gotta give my weight up. That's what we say. Yo, I'm about to get my weight up. That is for sure. Ooh. I didn't want to slip past JD's comment before we roll to the next story real quick. JD, 100%, bro. Sitting at 12 subscribers a week ago, I didn't have any. I celebrate every milestone. You know I say that, fam. That's definitely me. Every subscriber, every thumbs up is the way. Holler back. Because I said this in the video last week. 1 is infinitely better than 0. Right?
Right.
Every one of them 12 people right now, that's your click, bro. That's your original click. Right? Mm-hmm. When I rolled into the ECAN world, my original click is like Alicio, Marshall, Pastor Keith, and Bradley, Marquise Braden, and like the Jedi Council still to this day, bro. That was the original guys that like, hey, what's up? Let's do this. We all came in within the same week, and we just gelled together and just started working together. And to this day, we're still like mad tight. So your original 12, like your mod for your first live streams is sitting in your first 12 subscribers somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I remember there was 3 people on the stream. There was me and Linwell and my brother June. and that was my two moderators. It was just the three of us. So yeah, like it happens, fam. It happens. So I appreciate you for being willing to share that. And hey, keep working it, bro. Keep absolutely working it. It's coming. It's coming. All right. So this one is kind of what you guys thought we finna talk about, but hey. We wanted to make sure that some of the business aspect of this goes well. Let me just move. I'm trying to get some of these Google ads out of our way. Nah, fam, I wish
the YouTube Premium worked for that too. It's like, just add on the extra $4 if that's what y'all need.
Yeah, because now it is right in the middle of my dang story. I need you to go away, player. All right, let's try this. Anyway, let me jump over here. Boom. I just went to B&H because the story side was getting on my nerves. This is new joint coming out like very soon. This is a Sigma 35 f1.4, and Sigma get a whole bunch of unnecessary craziness at the end. All they needed to do was take this part out and just leave it at Sigma 35 1.4 for Sony E-mount. That's all you need.
And actually, it's the Diana Gladney edition.
What the hell
does
DGDN art lens mean anyway?
Diana Gladney didn't name this. That's what it means. Diana Gladney didn't name this. That's what it
Diana Gladney didn't name this. And you know what? I was fitting to ask you at your restaurant if you had a certain food, and I forgot what it was. It was funny like an hour ago, and the joke came through. Anyway,
it was funny an hour ago.
So, Sigma does actually have meanings for those names, and for right now, my brain just went dumb because the Gerald done in me forgot what the DG stands for and what the DN stands for. But it has to do with the way the ground is glass. The glass is ground, like what they're using.
I gotcha.
It has to do with their coatings. Yeah, but it is useless for normal folks. For us, photographer type people, it
guys
makes
like
it,
me.
That's a heavy lens, though. It's a heavy lens.
Where the weight was? Let me see. Let me check the specs real quick.
If you go, to the specs thing, it's a heavy lens. Sigma don't make light lenses like that for real. It's usually weighty.
22 ounces.
It's a heavy lens.
Heavy to the pocketbook too.
No, it's not. $800 is a filter, fam.
$900.
$900 is a filter. That is nothing, bro.
$800 is the 10 to 18.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. That's the 10 to 18 by Sony. Whereas with Canon, it's the 10 to 18 is $320.
Here, let me mess with David. Let me mess with David real quick.
Y'all are like, I'm not, I don't know what you're talking about, right, Diana?
No. It's just because new camera people, they get.
I felt that way initially. It's just like, ooh, it's like, what the hell are you doing with this? Am I sending somebody to college with this lens?
Yeah, even like, this is cheaper, but 70 to 200, like there's no good 7200s under $2,000. Man, what are you doing? Oh, you know what? I just realized something. My the new update to NDI likes to jump things whenever a pop-up comes up. It tries to like focus on the pop-up. Anyway, 70 to 200 in almost any lens is in this range. And if you get the lenses that my dad tends to buy, these are really going to crack you up.
I mean,
wait till you see these bad boys.
And I've had the I've had the occasion and the honor to use the 24 to 70 by. It is a fantastic, and I mean a fantastic piece of hardware.
Yeah,
it's like lens. Stuff like that. It does not make sense until you put it on your camera and you pull that thing and you like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it is a fantastic piece of hardware.
Yeah. So actually it's a decent price, but I have to say, going to Ms. D's point, not quite 2 pounds, but 1.5 pounds is it's kind of a lot. Bruh. That is kind of a lot, bro. Come on, Google ad, get out of the way. Let me show you guys some imagery real quick while we talk on this.
The glass. It's like the weight that you're accounting for. They make fantastic. I keep saying fantastic must be the word of the day, but it just like it's not until you get this stuff on your camera, go take it out, and then you look at it and you like, whoa. Now I got the Sony 35 f1.8. That's what I'm using right now, and that's my B-roll lens. That's what I use for any kind of anything, and it's my favorite lens ever. But this has me questioning some things because it's like, even though it's larger, even though it's bigger, it will be front heavy on just about any camera. Even if you got like a full frame camera or what have you, it's still is I just think the optics and what they're putting in this is absolutely incredible, and Manny absolutely kills it.
He killed
with
it,
his
right?
photography and his videography.
The reason why I
That
always
brother is
use
so
Manny,
skilled.
I watch Manny for the image quality because he always shows the photo and the video, and I'm a hybrid shooter, so I do both. And then he always, I go to Gerald to get the doc version. Like, all right, what is the DG glass that they're using in this time?
To figure out how they came up with the idea to how they shaved the glass and sculpted it and I think honestly, I feel like Gerald knows more about this stuff than a lot of the manufacturers do. I just feel like he knows more. They're like, well, did you know we could do this? Did you know we did that to that lens? We good. We didn't even know that. that Manny Ortiz is that business. If you're into lenses or cameras and stuff, and you are interested in seeing like the quality and stuff, he has a fantastic channel to check out.
Okay, so the DG signifies that it's for digital. So I did want to say that. That means that it works really good for digital oriented cameras as opposed to, reflexive cameras. And then the other thing the DN stands for is that it's designed for small cameras. So that means it's going to fit for the APS-C, which is what, our 6400s, 6600s, everything that's not an A7 for us, right? And of course, they will make this for other models. Right now, it's what I find is funny. Everybody used to come out with the Canon version, Nikon version first, and we'll get around to making the Sony one whenever.
Later,
now, Sony come out first.
It's the other way around.
It's cray. And then one thing I want to show you guys, just for reference, that all lenses is not created equal. This is a Zeiss 35 millimeter, right? And this is an f2.8. This lens right here is exactly what you see when you see this face right here giving you shade.
It's not actually. It's not actually.
I thought you had this.
I have the Sony. No, I just saw you said Zeiss. It's actually I have the Sony 35 f1.8.
Oh, you got the longer one.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the Sony 35 f1.8. I think this lens goes for about $400 or so.
Yeah, this one is like $800.
Yeah, so this one is like, so you got the Zeiss version. I got the Sony one. It's not like G Master or nothing like that. It's just branded. But I got it because it's the f1.8. And again, these lenses are absolutely fantastic. No matter which one you get, because Zeiss has incredible optics. It just is. And then too, the other thing that I love about Sigma lenses as well is they focus exceptionally fast. And I love that Sony shares that information. Like they're not like, like kind of honestly, when the Canon RF lenses and the RF line came out, I was concerned, like, are y'all going to let third parties have access to this? And they haven't, for real. Not in a way that is helpful to the lineup, but with Sony, from manual focusing lenses to autofocusing lenses, they help make it easy for these third party brands, which ultimately helps Sony build their business. So you can pick whatever you want to use. You don't like the Sigma 35 f1.4? No problem. There's a ton of other manufacturers out there. Tamron is actually crushing it. I love Tamron lenses. They're 17 to 28 millimeter and the 28 to 75 millimeter. Butter. Put a black Pro Mist filter on there. Butter. So
you know what's funny is when I went to go look it up to remind myself, and it was already in the comments. Sorry, Jermaine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jermaine. And Camera Junkie came through with the digital native. Yes. See, I knew something simple, but I don't know why I forgot what it was. That is super funny. Oh my God. I'm just checking the comments to make sure.
Quick side note while you doing that, Doc, while you checking comments. Rumor, don't know where this is going to go, but allegedly towards the end of May, there's supposed to be allegedly a new APS-C body out, and we talked about that on a previous episode of This Week in Live, where we were like, the A6100 is being discontinued, and what that means. And honestly, I didn't expect, because the A7 IV is right around the corner, and Sony just had released some data around 2 photography-based cameras, like an A7R4 or A7R4A or some type of stuff or whatever.
Oh, that's coming. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's like, so the A7 IV, we know to expect for that one, because it's been close to 3 years now that camera, the A7 III came out. So now we're looking for the A7 IV, or at least the A7 III Mark II, whatever they decide to do, should be a 4. But the APS-C body is being rumored right now to come out, and it's supposed to be better than the Sony A6600, which is what I use a lot. And so I can say my hope is if they do release something, it has the new menu system, it has a new sensor and not a reused sensor. It has a better EVF, the electronic viewfinder, so the little iCup piece. And I'm hoping that they fix the rolling shutter and the improved IBIS and all the new updates that you saw, and everything else is in there. I want to see a lot of stuff that's in the ZV-1 added to whatever it is that they do.
Yep.
Honestly, I'm
that's
hoping
why
that's what they do.
I think the 2 new cameras that are coming out, actually, Sony has guaranteed said they got like 2 more announcements this year, but maybe they'll double. Maybe we'll get 3 cameras total. One thing I'm looking for is I'm looking for, of course, the A updates, which they might not have to do an announcement for. They just roll them. Here's the new models. Here's the changes. But everything else is generally the same. They just did some improvements because the community asked for them. But I think the A7C will get bumped again to add a little bit more stuff that they fixed because it's in the ZV-1 now. So you'll get the full frame ZV-1 is already the A7C. It just kind of sort of is. And whatever the replacement is for the 6600, I'm kind of waiting for that whole brand new 4. But yeah.
I think that'll be whatever they put in the A7 IV. If it has the fully articulating screen, that may be the thing that makes me go ahead and buy the full frame camera, not because it's full frame, but just because it makes more sense to just, because the price difference ain't going to be, you know what I'm saying, that much more significant at launch date or for either of these. And it's like, I like APS-C because that honestly perfectly fits me. But if they're not going to add to, like in the what I expect from an update, that's why I didn't get the A7C, because it's literally just a full frame version. I mean, exact full frame version just of the A6600. I already have all that stuff. I don't care about the screen's orientation enough to buy a whole other camera. And I have a lot of people that I know that had the same thing. They was just like, yeah, that's not good enough. Yep. So I'm hoping that whatever that APS-C lineup is, that's supposed to be better than the A6600 is significantly better. Otherwise, it's like maybe I'll pick up a second A6600 camera, depending on if I find it that or A7C cheaper. And then like an ultimate upgrade should be hopefully the A7 IV if it has all the bells and whistles, which I think it will. But I think at that point, though, if they don't, it's just like, well, just get an A7S III then. And
you keep making videos like you made for Examiner, you can get an A1.
Yeah, if you are a not camera expert like me and you're a regular Joe who's doing live streaming and stuff, come over to Letsget.live whenever all this stuff comes out, and we will tell you whether or not it's an advantage to get it or not. Because I'm just going to ask these 2 geniuses that I'm on screen with, should I get it or should I not? And Diana and Doc's going to say, no, it's not enough value to get it. Keep what you got, you know. So if you're normal like me and you're not, you know, immersed into that world, but you're doing live streaming.
Well, so here's the thing. Here's the thing, real quick, on the language, real quick. I have been around cameras since I was a little kid. I have well over my 5,000 hours to be called an expert, but I'm not an expert. I don't think there is very few people that are camera experts other than the people who make them. Because there's so many variables, so many changes. A lot of it is personal feeling. A camera is similar to a car. Like all the specs and stuff don't mean anything to you if your hands don't fit or your brain can't wrap around their non-touchscreen menu system on the back, Sony. Things like that, right? There's always going to be something that you're missing.
Hell yeah,
so
touchscreen.
I don't really like that moniker per se. The other reason why I don't like that moniker is because it takes it away from you. How many cameras you got right now, David? I know the answer. I just want you to tell them.
Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 Sonys.
And a GoPro and an iPhone.
And I was
no, I've got a shit ton of cameras. Oops, I'm sorry. Hold on.
No,
it's on the stream.
Yeah, it's good. Okay. So, and then YouTube approved it like 2 weeks ago. You can say shit ton. Just don't do it too many times. Okay, so listen.
I got a shit ton.
If you got like close to 10 cameras, you're a camera guy. Never let the I'm not a camera person slide past my lips ever again. If you say
Okay,
that
yes,
again,
sir.
I will get on the plane.
Yes, sir.
I will
Yes,
come
sir.
to the
Yes,
forest and chop
Yes,
down
sir.
a tree and chase you around the state with it. Just
Why
don't.
the tree gotta die
I'm
for
going to
you
do
to get your
exactly what Doc
revenge?
says, but I'm just going to say, don't come ask me a bunch of technical questions.
Not all questions about cameras are technical. Some
Yeah,
cameras
right.
questions about cameras are what are your feelings on? What are your
You
you
are
can tell by
correct.
the you can tell by the person's questions which answer they're
Yeah.
looking for, right? That
Yeah.
okay, now we're
Yeah.
getting into
Right.
Stephanie Lou
You
NLP
are-
territory. But when they
you
say
are
what are your
correct.
feelings about it, they don't want to know any technical stuff. When they say how
I'm
does this
staying-
look, when they say, well, how does this sound? They got different answers that they want. And we're not going to get into that because the stream would be like 9 hours long.
I stand corrected. You are
No, I'm
right,
just
Doc. I agree.
just trying to make good habits. All right, gang, we got to tighten this
No,
up
I
because I
get
got to go do a beta stream. So
Yeah.
I just want to check with you, David. Did we miss something for you on Apple Podcasts?
No, well, there's one last thing that we were going to cover. I'll touch on it quickly. Apple Podcasts has released subscriptions as well. It's going to cost, I believe, $19.99 a year. And whatever subscription price you set up, you've got full control of that. Again, they're going to take 30% of the first year. And then if you stay with them a second year, I think it's a scale, they're going to take 15% the next year. So at least they kind of have a sliding scale and are giving you some incentive to stay with them. But if you've been on Apple Podcasts for a while and you want to offer memberships, they're allowing it as well. So check it out. You can let me tell you the URL real quick.
I got it.
Podcasters.apple.com.
I got it. I'm just waiting for it to load.
Yeah.
It got stuck.
It did take. Yeah.
You know what that tells you? All podcasters is out here in these streets trying to get signed up. Because the one thing that Apple brings to the table that is different is, and people don't like this, but it's the truth. It's installed on every device. They're a billion devices deep, and those devices get refreshed. Like they get some churn rate when people switch and go to Samsung when they get something to come the other direction. But you got close to a billion devices every 2 years popping out. Then the app is going to be there, and somebody going to be like, you know what? Let me just listen to it this way.
Every 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I figured there's some people that switch every 4 years, so that's an over exaggeration. But
Well, I think we're more so moving into the territory that a lot of people are owning two phones. It doesn't matter if
one
it's
for
two
the plug
iPhone-
and one for the
two-
load.
Yeah. And it's like and it doesn't mean that it's like it just is weird because it's like it can be one is an Android and one is an iPhone, or one is an older iPhone and your newer iPhone. So somewhere thereabout, we wind up having two phones. You know what I'm saying? So, or even if you switch, you still have an Android and you have an iPhone. So if something comes out that you need access to and it's on Android, first, then you can go there. Just like, hey, good to see you, coach. It's just like if, updates for YouTube come out. And a lot of times those updates come out to Android first. So
David just ghosted us. David just straight ghosted us. It was like,
Right. I saw out the corner of my eye was the chair swivel around. I just needed to see that. I needed to hear that Bugs Bunny kind of like, pew.
Bruh, you know what we do is we need that that sound bite, or we need that clip. Like, save it for YouTube. We in the middle. Miss D, you gotta chop that. You gotta put it on LGL fam, and then put the sound of David like. Just like I was like, look,
Sorry about that.
Either his food came or like one of them girls knocked on the door.
I had no idea.
David, I see you in there. Hey, Josh, good to see you. Man, I was just thinking about you this morning, Josh, because Rob Buddy had asked me a thing about my choice of email services and things like that. And I'm like, yo, my two partners over here are kind of giving me heat on that. So, I need to fix my email thing set up. So, Josh, me and you about to have a lot more conversations than you probably want to. So, what's up, Elaine? Good to see you here. All right, gang. Just finishing up the Apple Podcast thing on the real though. Like, I'm excited about what's going to happen. I can't say that everyone's going to be happy, but you know what? I think people are finding their spot. People are finding their groove. It's only going to get better. So giving creators more of a chance to make something now is good because a lot of people lost jobs. So whether it affects you directly or not, it is helping people. There are people who have started podcasts and shows that are doing good because the jobs got lost, and they getting a chance to be put on already. They just out here. You know what I'm saying? So, hey.
I mean, I think
don't
the
worry,
ultimate thing
Tony.
is
When
this.
Canon News comes up, we speak on it. I checked. There wasn't nothing other
It's
than
just, yeah.
ESOR3 right now, but Canon's sleeping at the moment. So,
Yeah, along with Nikon.
well,
So,
Nikon
yeah,
did
but-
announce that they're going to rev the Z6, and somebody was like, it was super funny. Somebody's like, well, I'm gonna just get this and blah blah blah, and not get the Sony. And I'm like, your Nikon Z6 is a Sony, clown. Step up.
It's just the whole thing. Like Nikon is good at saying what we about to do, and then Canon like, yeah, us too. And it's like both of y'all sit down and be quiet until you drop something, and then let's see when you drop something if it's gonna be worth something. Because it's just like the talk about it is one thing for rumors. Like everybody loves rumors. I personally love rumors, but it's just like, but don't be like we making a product announcement. We about to do something. Okay, 6 months later, we
David,
still
you
finna
see
do
JD?
something. Like okay.
I
That's
do.
actually JD. That's David's from Louisiana. I just like Kevin Gates, but no, because he making fun because I said one for the plug and one for the load. Now I got a new song stuck in my head for today. I got two
Good.
phones.
Well, I won't give us a copyright strike for the
No,
one.
don't you dare press that button, David. Dang funny.
Thanks
Don't
for
even-
joining This Week in Live with your
Yep,
hosts,
we're outta
Diana,
here.
Doc,
Peace
and
out.
David.
Peace.
We're getting ready to head out. Thanks for tuning in to this week's show. Join us next week when we talk more about some things that are coming up, a few updates, and one that's LGL specific. Stay tuned, and we hope you all have a fantastic week. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already. And if you haven't already checked out our individual channels, links will be in the description down below. Be sure to share and spread the love. And with that, guys, we will see you in the next episode of This Week in Live.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bruh,
Peace.
another fantastic show.
Facts.